This is Bleav in Buckeyes. I'm Bryant with All-American cornerback Chimdi Chekwa. We got a great show, man. This Saturday, it kicks off the 12-team college football playoff is happening. It started. And, I mean, I ain't going to say, maybe not to the pleasure of many, but to some Buckeye fans, we get a home game at least, right, man? How you feeling over there, Chum? How you feeling about this playoff week? You got a lot in front of us, man. How you feeling?
Yeah, it's history, man. Home playoff game in the shoe to kick off the 12-team playoff, man. That's going to be something exciting, right? The temperature I think is going to be right now is slated to be somewhere in the 20-degree, a little bit below freezing temperature. I'm not going to be at the game. I'm being warm.
What? You're not going to be at the game? What?
I'm not going to be there in person.
You just said it's history. You don't want to watch history in person?
Yeah, I'm going to witness that history through my TV personally. However, it's definitely for those who are there, for all the Buckeye fans who show up to this game. You need to be loud. You need to be active. Listen, I know how it is when you go to the game. Some fans don't want you to stand up. It's like, man, look, if nothing's happening right now, I want to sit down and say, this ain't the time, man. This is a playoff atmosphere, playoff game, loud, disruptive. And I expect the Buckeye fans to show up and show out for this game. They're wearing the all scarlet. I know some people don't like the jersey. I'm curious. What do you think about the all scarlet uniforms? It's just not the historic.
Not my favorite, man. Not my favorite. To me, it's just too much red. Like I went my high school, we were red and black, right?
Yeah.
And when I was in school, like it was like almost like against. It was like a religion. Like we're not wearing all red. Like we're not putting on all red. And now Coach Ginn got soft. He like let the kids wear all red now. But man, like back in the day, it was just so I always got a bit of taste on my. I'm not the biggest on the jersey switch ups because I don't know. I like to keep things the way things are. I don't want to bring in no new stuff to the table, man. No mojo to the table, man. I don't want things to kind of stay.
Man, you're an old guy, man.
Hey, I'm an old
You're an old
man.
guy. Listen, I like the all red.
I like three yards in the cloud of dust, man. Like what you?
I like the all red. I don't care what it is. I don't care to switch up. They need to change up after what happened last time in this shit.
Yeah.
So switch it up for them this game. Crowd coming near your red or whatever. So the college football playoff is supposed to be taking over some of the theatrics. I don't know exactly what's going to be happening. I don't know if it's going to be some fireworks, some color changes or whatever.
Some light shows like Ross. I see AD Ross new. Or like it might be. He says it's gonna be a party in there, man. So
it should be a crazy, exciting atmosphere. And we've been asking for a night game all year. We've been asking for a night game all year. They've been sticking us in big noon kickoff. So I expect guys to be waiting, prepping all day, and fired up for their game. Which means they need to start fast. Yeah. I'm just gonna get right into it. So Ohio State Buckeyes need to start fast, and the Buckeye fans have been suffering since the last game, right? Yeah. There's a lot of negativity floating on the media, and
rightfully so.
Rightfully so. But this is the opportunity to switch the narrative, to change everything. And I really want for this game, Ryan Day to go out swinging in the way that Ryan Day knows. I want him to be who he is. I want to see his influence on the offensive game plan early on and often. And I think that's the approach to actually be effective versus a Tennessee team, which we're going to talk about. Tennessee team who is really good defensively, really stout up front on the defensive line, really solid when it comes to defensive backs. But they play aggressive. They're aggressive defense in terms of they'll come up and play press man. They'll play single high safety defense. They'll leave their corners on the island versus receivers. And we got to take advantage of that early here, right? And force their offense to keep up with the talent that we have.
Yeah. No, that's for sure, man. I know Coach Day, he did some press. He had some couple of comments out that was floating around the internet here today. And how the team's going to be, and like Coach Day usually does, he says all the right things. The team's going to be hungry. We got to put the last one behind us. We still got all the things in front of us. And it's true, right? Obviously we had goals for the season. We struck out on a couple, but we still got one real big one, which some could argue is the biggest goal of the season, being a national champion. It's right here in front of us. Due to the landscape of college football, we now have a 12-team playoff, right? So we had a couple slip-ups. We're still in it. We still got a chance to do it. Obviously, we played against a Tennessee team that is good, But, I had a chance to kind of really watch some games today. We are better, right? Let's
Yeah,
not, I don't want to, we are the better team when it comes to everything, players, scheme, but obviously that doesn't matter. You have to go out there and get it done. So, like you said, I expect our fan base to be riled up. I expect that stadium to be shaking. I know, I don't know I don't know what the Tennessee, they got a good name for their crowd. I want to say it's like Death Valley or something like that, wherever Tennessee play. I don't know. I might be making
yeah,
completely
that's right. That's
wrong.
right.
That's right, Death Valley.
Yeah.
They stadium rock, man. I watched the Alabama game. They drew several offsides in that game throughout the whole game. Not even just the first half, which was game was really slightly then. But they was fired up, ready to go, and we have to do the same, man. We have to make it a excited atmosphere. I expect Buckeye Nation to go in there and had a shoe rocking. But like you say, it comes down to the play because they could be rocking for us and with us and making things difficult for Tennessee. But if things go start off kind of, going array, we also have a lot of fans in there to start pissing the heat on Coach Day, as a lot of Buckeye Nation is at this time, just due to, really similar to our last performance. So, we got Tennessee. Like I said, I had a chance to watch a couple of games and kind of take a look at some of the things that they do well. They're led on their offense, where they're probably the best player on their team is the running back. Dylan Sampson, who's SEC Player of the Year, 1,400 rushing yards. He's a good player. Very stout guy, tough to take down. He makes something out of nothing often. What do you think about this Tennessee team and different ways that we could attack, first off, this offense so we can have a successful night when Saturday hits?
Yeah, I mean, from the defensive side of the ball, I think doing a lot of what we've been doing. I don't think Tennessee's offense is very potent. I don't think they have the passing game to really be able to go toe to toe with a really good offense, which is what Ohio State is. But they should be when they're aggressive, a really good offense. And the main reason why is because they got a true freshman at quarterback. I Bleav he's a true freshman or a redshirt freshman, but he's a freshman.
Second year.
Yeah,
player.
he's a redshirt freshman, and it still feels like he's seen a lot when he drops back. I don't know how to explain it, but it just seems like he's seen a little bit more than what he needs to. When the plays are simple, quick, he's good, he's accurate, he's sharp. When he has to read and you can throw different things at him, he's seen a lot. Now, he's seen a lot at home when they're playing in Tennessee. When he's in the shoot, in the college football playoff atmosphere, 20-degree weather, et cetera, and all these things, he'd be seeing all this stuff for the first time. It's going to feel like a lot more. And the reality is, with the way our defense has played since Oregon, the scheme that has been put in, the different pressures and the different ways that Jim Knowles has attacked offenses, he's going to struggle, right? So they're going to have to lean on really their defense to put the offense in pretty good position so that they can be on the attack. They're not going to be able to just be on the attack offensively. They'll struggle. Now, the reality is, if you allow a team like this to stay in the game, if you allow a team like this because you don't perform offensively to give the crowd something to get riled up about, to cheer about, as the game goes on, they start to build that confidence. So I think the game plan here is similar to the game plan versus Michigan, is that, you want to attack their offense. You really want to stop the run, force them in third and longs, and force their quarterback to make play. One of the opportunities Tennessee does have on offense is a quarterback who can scramble, who can run, and make some plays with his legs. And if there's one area where offenses have consistently made plays, even games where the defense has played great, it's been running. Even from Drew Allen, who doesn't even really run, right, when we play Penn State. So that's going to be something that they could potentially exploit. But still, I don't see Tennessee's offense really being able to do too much unless you allow them to hang around and then they figure out a way to scheme up the defense and get some chunk plays to put themselves in position to win the tight game.
Yeah. And so, my perspective, I watched two games in particular. I watched the Alabama game, which was a close game that they won. Pretty sloppy game up front. Second half, both teams kind of got together. Tennessee was able to come out with it. Then I watched the Georgia game, another game that was close, but they ended up losing that game to Georgia. So I really kind of got the time to kind of lock in on their offensive line. They're definitely a big unit up front. Definitely got some big guys, some strong guys with some length to them. And I feel like, in my opinion, that, they're not the most athletic of bunches. So I would like, first and second down, we got to stop the run, right? Like I said, the best players are running back. And, we've seen our defense kind of get in ways where they can kind of really start to run. The way they do it, they kind of get tighter to make things a little bit heavier and kind of challenge offensive linemen on every snap. But on those known passing downs, we win first and second. We need our guys wide. We need our ends. We need JT and Sawyer to get wide. We need our D tackles up and maybe wide and 4-eye type of technique. And we got to make those big guys move their feet, which I feel like would be in our advantage in those type of situations where we could get them in space, one-on-one situations. We kind of make it, get our guys run the loop, do a move, get them going lateral, not so much north and south. And I feel like we can kind of have some success there. Looking at Tennessee's defense, well, team. Their best unit is definitely their defensive line. They're led by their star Ian, I'm going to say Ian, outside linebacker / James Pierce, who has close to 7.5, 8 sacks on the season. He would be a first-round draft pick in this year's draft just due to his performances for the last several seasons. But they have other guys up there as well that most likely be playing in the NFL, 2 or 3 guys. You got 21, 55, a couple of guys that kind of jumps off at the tape. Defensive backs, like you say, they are good enough, right?
Yeah,
nothing special.
Yeah.
But they're definitely a solid bunch that kind of, brings it to the party. And obviously you got your linebackers. Linebackers are linebackers. They're the tackles, and their linebackers make tackles and things of that nature. But looking at the defense, they do. I guess it depends on who they play, right? So when they're playing a team like Alabama who has a running quarterback, who quarterback is probably not the best at throwing the ball, they get kind of exotic when it comes to pressures. Second and long, they're sending guys. Third and long, they're sending guys. But when you're looking at Tennessee's defense, in your opinion, what's the best way to attack this defense so we can have success once again and kind of get those? How many points you score against Michigan? 10, 7?
Yeah.
Whatever. We'll
10
get that
points.
taste in our mouths and get back to playing Ryan Day football and score some points on the offensive side.
Yeah, you got to win. You got to win somewhere. And I think Tennessee, first of all, if I'm Tennessee, how do I stop Ohio State's offense? I'm looking at the Michigan game. I'm saying, look, from a talent standpoint defensively, we equal what Michigan can do defensively, right? So we're rushing 4 because we don't want to try to do too much and leave guys open, bust coverages, put our guys in difficult matchups. So we'll rush 4, and then we'll mix up man and zone coverage and try to confuse Howard a little bit to see if he'll throw us a pick as well. And we feel confident that our 4 guys can, one, be able to disrupt the run game first and second down. Then on third down, go rush the passer if we're in a favorable third down situation. So given that, if I'm Ohio State, I'm taking the same type of game plan that, we should take towards a Michigan. And I am loosening up that defense, and I am attacking on the edges. And I think Tennessee, they're gonna have some faith and trust in their defensive backs to be able to cover guys. One-on-ones, they're gonna play some single high safety defense and leave guys manned up on Jeremiah Smith. Leave guys manned up in the slot against Emeka Egbuka. And you got to take those matchups. You just got to take those matchups so Tennessee knows that we can't do this too much. Like, we can't do this. We got to figure out something else because when they get too far in the hole, and that's when you got the advantage. If they can go out there, rush 4, play kind of a base defense and blitz in spots based on situation, and they get some success there, they're gonna feel good about the entire game. Like, look, they're not creating explosives. They're not getting big plays on us. We're good. We're gonna keep this game close. We're gonna shorten this game. We're gonna run the ball, and in the fourth quarter, if it's a close game, we feel good about being able to come up with whatever we got, throw the kitchen sink at Ohio State, and see if we can get a close win in the end, and the time runs out. So I think the biggest thing for Ohio State is to attack early. I really don't. I want to see a little bit of the Georgia playoff game type approach.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's not C.J. Stroud back there, so I don't want you to get too carried away, Ryan Day.
And Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah. But I want that approach because if they're gonna play with a single high safety and we're gonna get a one-on-one matchup on the end, throw the ball up. What did Jeremiah Smith say earlier in the season?
Yeah, if it's 50-50, it ain't 50-50.
Ain't no 50-50 ball.
Ain't no 50 with him.
At some point when you get these 5-star talented receivers that we celebrate every time there's a haul of these talented receivers. At some point when they're one-on-one matched up against a defensive back, we got to play to the talent. We got to say, look, we celebrated these guys because we felt like they're going to be better than the guy guarding. So we got to give them a chance to be able to actually be who we think they are. And I think early on, You got to do it. Alabama tried to do it. No, not Alabama. I watched Georgia. Georgia tried to do that early on. They weren't successful, but they stayed aggressive. And I think Ohio State has more in Georgia in terms of being able to do that, and that's what they need to do offensively.
Yeah, no, I agree. Spread up. Don't get into the. And it's funny we keep bringing up the Michigan game, but if you watch Tennessee, like it's similar to they just are. They got a good running back that they want to get going. They run out of gun a lot. I think Michigan get under center some and do some things there. But Tennessee's basically primarily in the gun unless it's like a goal line, real short yard situation. And then up front, like they're like just like Michigan, their defensive line kind of really runs the show, and you play behind it. You want to stop the run. They put extra guys in the box. They put extra guys at the line of scrimmage, send pressures off the edges. That's what they do to kind of attack offensives, and we just need to be ready for it. But I would
the other thing the other thing they do, they have to protect their quarterback.
Yeah,
they have to protect them. It's one thing when you want to take care of the football. You want to take care of the football. You might be backed up. You don't want to. You don't want to create a turnover, whatever. But for Tennessee, they have to protect their quarterback. They have to keep him from not turning the ball over. They have to make sure he's a freshman in a hostile environment who still hasn't figured it all out, who's still kind of figuring things out. So, you want to be aggressive on the other side to force him to have to match that level of aggression.
Yeah. Now, something we need to talk about. I mean, you brought it up briefly, but we do need to discuss the weather, right? I think that right now we're slated at a high of 22 degrees. Obviously, the kickoff is not till 8 o'clock at night, so the wind chill might be down to could be easily in the single digits. And now we're talking about the SEC school that plays in the South, right? And obviously it's warmer. The closer you get to this is a science. Like, the closer you get to the equator, the hotter it is. So they're further south, they're closer to the equator than we are in Ohio. So the temperatures tend to be warmer.
Thank you for that science lesson.
Yeah, man, there you go. What's your thoughts on the weather and it being a factor in the game? And basically, like you said, we need to attack on the edges, in the air, and it being potentially cold and freezing the balls and things of that nature. What's your thoughts on the weather and how it could potentially affect the game and who does it favor?
Yeah, I think it's a factor. I'm not sure how much of a factor it is, given that, most of the time, even players at Ohio State don't tend to play in a ton of cold weather. I mean, the season, I know in my experience, the season is usually over by the time it really gets cold, except those November games, and depending on whether or not you're going to Northwestern, Minnesota, even in Columbus, like you don't tend to get a lot of cold weather games. And plus, I mean, Jeremiah Smith is from Florida. He is his freshman year. He never played a cold game, really. But, at the same time, I do think it benefits Ohio State because I think it benefits veteran guys who've played a lot of football, been in different situations, like a Will Howard, Emeka Egbuka, and then it also benefits, obviously the guys who may actually practice in real cold weather at times. Tennessee has a younger quarterback who likely hasn't been in the stadium situation. Then it's also cold. Like there's a lot of elements to deal with. But I don't know how much of the factor that is. But regardless, I don't care what the temperature. We got to throw the ball. We got to create some explosive plays. One thing during that Michigan game when you're backed up, and I understand you backed up. You threw a pick, backed up once. You don't want to set the team up again for an easy score again. So you play a little bit more conservative. But when you're backed up, the percentage chance of you being able to score a touchdown are so low. It's so low, right? Unless you create an explosive play, right? So early in this game, I don't care if it comes out and it's 20 below. Like, we got to air the ball out. We got to create some explosives just to set ourselves up to score points, get a lead against a Tennessee team that doesn't score a ton of points. But the other thing is they don't allow a lot of points either. So you're gonna have to create some points, and in order to create some points, you got to create some explosive plays. So I just hope that it's been cold enough the last couple of weeks that these guys that aren't used to it have been able to get acclimated here before Tennessee comes up here and plays and shoot.
Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, right? I would say that we got to practice in it, right? I know. Typically, getting ready for bowl practice, historically, you stay inside, but, we're traveling. We're playing somewhere south, somewhere where it's warm. Obviously, that's not the case. So, hopefully, Coach Day has got the guys outside. They kind of are used to the weather. I say one thing about cold, no matter if it's 30 degrees, 20 degrees, you got to get used to it. You got to go here. You got to feel it. And then once you kind of get into that rhythm of it, things kind of tend to slow down a little bit. And you bring up Jeremiah Smith being from Florida. Nico is from Southern California. And you know what they say about Southern California? It never rains in Southern California, man. So, this would be most likely his first time playing in a cold weather situation as well. We had to take advantage of it. Other things around college football, obviously the big trophy, the top trophy of college football was given out this weekend, and that's the Heisman Trophy. And it went to Travis Hunter out of Colorado, obviously coached by Deion Sanders and all the noise that those guys was made. They had a good season, right? I think in fact, he won the Heisman. They had a bad season. He wouldn't have had a chance to win. I don't care what he did playing both sides of the ball. What's your thoughts on that? Was Chimdi snubbed, or did they give the Heisman to the best player in college football, which that award is supposedly supposed to go to?
Yeah, the Heisman Trophy to me is always an interesting year to year because it ends up being whoever, during the year the media has deemed the guy, right? And it changes during the season. First 4 games, this guy's going to be the Heisman. Next 4 games, and you kind of have a feel of who's going to win it towards the end of the season because everybody is already talking about who they're going to pretty much be voting for. But I think Travis Hunter is the best player in college football. So I think the Heisman. I struggle because I don't know if the Heisman they got it right for the Heisman because I don't feel like the Heisman always goes to the best player in college football. I feel like it goes to the quarterback who's on the best team, the best quarterback who's on that group of the best teams, 3 or 4 best teams in college football. That's where I'll typically go. But I think this year it went to the best player, and I also think last year it went to the best player in college football. To me, those are outliers. I don't tend to think that the Heisman typically goes to the best player. I think Chimdi had the historic year, and he's at the running back position where you didn't have a quarterback who ran away with the Heisman, so it usually is quarterback first, then it tends to be that running back next that is on a team that's undefeated or maybe a one-loss team that leads his team the way Chimdi did. So I thought, based on precedent, that he was deserving of the Heisman, but I thought Travis Hunter was the best player. So to me, there wouldn't be a snub. Depending on who got it, to me, there was enough for them to win it. And then it becomes a popularity contest, in my opinion. And popularity is a part of the Heisman. That's why they talk about Heisman plays, Heisman moments, right? Yeah. You have to create them. And it's hard for Boise to have the Heisman moment because they don't really play on national TV in prime time where everybody's watching, et cetera, et cetera. So I think partly the school he went to was part of the reason why Chimdi ended up not getting it. But congratulations to Travis Hunter. I'm never gonna argue against a cornerback getting the Heisman. I just can't do it.
Quick. The case for I was on the gate, right? Like you say, could have went either way. Chimdi had a fantastic year. When I kind of saw the stat that Melvin Gordon had more rushing yards and didn't win the Heisman either, and I was like, well, I guess that kind of tells a little bit of the story there. And then you kind of learn the stats of Howard, how he was basically top 10 in the nation at receiving. And also, if you look at PFF for corner, right? Because sometimes you don't get a lot of tackles. Sometimes you don't get a lot of INTs just because guys don't throw you away because you're doing a great job. And you look at his PFF, also tops the nation at the cornerback position. Obviously, a fantastic talent. Both of these guys going to play on Sundays. And obviously, Chimdi gets a chance at a couple more opportunities here in the playoffs. And in Travis Hunter said that he's playing in his bowl game as well. So we'll get one more opportunity to see him as well. Shout out to the Buckeyes. We got shout out Seth McLaughlin winning the Remington Award, best center in the nation. Shout out to our All-Americans. We got Seth. We got Donovan Jackson. We got Caleb Downs. We got Jeremiah Smith. And we also got Lathan Ransom. Yeah, Lathan Ransom also got a bid and to be an All-American as well. Shout out to those guys. But real quick, before we end the show, transfer portal. We lost another quarterback. Aaron Nolan stated that he'll be entering the transfer portal. Obviously, last episode we talked about Devin Brown. But I think it's kind of, real quick, I want to get your opinion on this. Penn State's backup quarterback, who they also play, I believe it's Bo Prabula, into the transfer portal, leaving his team right before they had the opportunity to play in the playoffs. What's your thoughts on that? Just real quick, does the transfer portal need to be moved? Do they need to expand it the length of the time that the portal is open? What's your thoughts on the portal? Because obviously our quarterback says he's getting the portal. He said he's going to stay though. He's going to stick around. Yeah. His guy, he leaves.
So
thoughts on that?
So shout out to Devin Brown sticking through the playoffs, being the backup through the playoffs.
Man, he's just a great guy, man.
No
Right?
matter what the fans say or whoever should be the second guy, he's the backup quarterback. If Will Howard comes out, you want somebody who's been in that position to take it over. But at the same time, I would understand if he left prior to the playoff. Because, I mean, you're talking about a decision for you. Like, you're not going to be a part of this team moving forward. And the reason why you entered the transfer portal is because somebody presented you with an opportunity. And you want to make the most of that next opportunity. Now, I guess technically you're not supposed to tamper or whatever, but there's money sitting there and there's an opportunity sitting there. And anybody in a job understands that when you get a better opportunity, you go take the opportunity, right? Maybe you give them a 2-week notice or whatever, but you know the challenge is the transfer, the free agency, college free agency window is during the college football playoffs, which obviously makes no sense at all, right? Yeah. But at the same time, the portal is likely tied to the school year, and the school year starts in January, so you know
you gotta give guys some time, right? You gotta give guys time to get in the portal, make a decision, potentially start school so they can participate in spring ball, right?
Yeah,
so
they got to figure this out because these are not amateur players. These are not amateur players. Like the promotion, the theatrics that's going to be at the college football playoffs, the amount of money that's being thrown around, and this, and the amount of money that's being generated. Mm-hmm. These are not amateur players. No matter how much people say, like, you know, I miss the old college football. They've never been amateur players, so they got to figure out how to separate the school and the sport, especially probably going to expand the playoffs even more, right? So they're going to have to figure this out, and right now I feel like they're doing a terrible, terrible, terrible job of making these decisions. Oh, my gosh. I mean, how much do you get paid to plan and figure out how this thing works? If they need a consultant, look, I'll take a
fraction, right? A fraction.
Yeah, $1.5 million. Listen, and we'll get in the room and we'll figure this thing out.
Man. We'll put some ideas. We'll erase them and write some more. Then we come up with a plan. But yeah, I mean, obviously, it's this stuff. Like I say, it's a double-edged sword. You want to open up the portal so you give guys a chance to get into school, right? And have that season, that semester, to compete in spring. But a great easy fix would be that you just open up spring ball for whoever is going to be a part of your team. I'll fix that right there. But hey, that's our show for the day.
I'm sorry. Hold on. Marshall has about 20 players who just transferred, bro, before a bowl game, bro. Like, about 20-something players who just transferred.
They had to step out the bowl game. They're like, yeah, we're not going to be able to show up. We don't got enough guys.
We don't got the numbers.
We ain't got the numbers, man. I don't know what to do.
Go get a 3-17 and put them in the bowl game. Yeah. We don't got the numbers, man. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. But like I said, I mean, obviously, things need to be changed. Things need to be fixed. And we're not in a position to make those decisions or fix them, man. Well, we are in a position to talk about it.
Listen, I don't want to leave without saying this. BetOnline is your number one trusted platform for online betting. Do not bet on the teams that have lost 20-plus players. They're not showing up and they're not going to win. But for all your sports, all professional sports, BetOnline is the number one trusted platform to all your college football playoff betting. Man, it's just some exciting times for college football.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And I just looked it up. Ohio State is -7, so we're the favorites going into the game this weekend. That's I think that's a fair spread.
Yeah,
fair spread. Looking around, fair spread.
Against a team that keeps the game close. They're gonna play up defense, and they're not giving up a lot of points. They tend to keep the game close. Ohio State's gonna have to extend the lead on them to force them to have to play offense.
Yeah, that's for sure. We got to make them have to play offense. But that's our show. Obviously, this weekend, we all know we might have an opportunity to jump on. If so, always tune in. Catch us on YouTube. Catch us on Spotify. Catch us on Apple. Catch us on wherever you watch your podcast at. Tune in to us. We'll be bringing you the Buckeye news and getting excited for the first 12-team college football playoffs. That's our show for this week. And all our shows with an 08.
Yo.
Go Bucks. Talk to you guys soon.
Go Bucks.